Back to the issue of now the way forward, because Justina, you suggest that probably it's time even the Gen Zs reconsider their actions in as far as street demonstrations. Going forward, there have been other demonstrations, other proposals as well, and perhaps the most notable is the one from the former Prime Minister, who talks about an intergenerational national conclave, and the word conclave now has become very popular even on social media. And I just want to get your feelings about that. Do you feel like Raila Odinga could be considered a bit disingenuous in suggesting that, given that he has suggested such before?
He ends up, every time there's that conclave, I think it's a dialogue in easier terms, he ends up benefiting. So probably he wants to, he's not eating more, so maybe he's trying to negotiate more for himself. I think this country, we are beyond conversations. Fred, last year, the youth, in fact, were saying we need to have this conversation. Everyone said, let's have a national dialogue. That is when you'd see the president coming on X, having a conversation with people, and the youth would say, this is the problem we are facing. But at the end of it all, nothing was done. The president ended up giving people jobs, including myself, which I had not asked for, because he's acting in the 1990s. At this point, even if you give a Kikuyu a job, it is not benefiting me personally. People are saying, you need salary, you and your family. So he needs to understand, even if he has numbers in parliament, the conversation should be, how do we create employment for these people? So the national dialogue called by Raila is not genuine. We have moved from conversations, we know what the problem is. It is them to use their brains. And when I say them, it is those ones who are in positions of policy and legislations to use their brains to give us solutions. Because at this point, the issue is economic problems. And remember, it is making, I think it's even affecting our mental health. I'm wondering how the goons can go into a hospital and a woman is being taken through a CS session. At that point, look at the contamination. Look at even the nurses, their mental health state. At that point, the goons are around beating up patients. So I think we are beyond talking, because the more we talk, there is no solution that is coming. The solution comes in terms of policy and legislations. So I think he's not being genuine. For him, he's negotiating something bigger. Maybe he'll be told, bring more experts, watu wa kukula hapo. So he's not being genuine. At this point, the ones in positions of policy and legislations should use their brains to give us solutions. Because at the end of it all, Fred, if these youth are engaged, I'm telling you, you will not see someone leaving their kazi mtaani to come and take 100 shillings or to destroy property. That is my thing.
What if the suggestion would have come from somewhere, some other source? Like, for example, I think a couple of Sundays back, Fred Matiang'i, the former CS for Interior, said something similar, that probably it is time for people to come together and talk instead of the violence we are witnessing. Do you think that his call is different?
He's also stuck in the old age. Fred, when we had a problem of multi-party, the issue was we want from KANU, we want more political parties. There you could have a conversation. But now the problem is the economy is not working, Fred. It goes beyond talking. Because even if we say, I don't have a job, okay, we've talked, we don't have a job. Does it mean that some people are going to be thrown out of government? How are we going to create more a conducive environment for business? How are we going to make investors come? Those are issues of policy and tax policies. So it goes beyond. The Kenyans have already said our problem is this. We want jobs. Our parents have struggled to take us to school. The university funding, though they're saying that it's now better, the problems are already known. So talking is not helping. It is about action now. The action comes in terms of policy and legislations. So even if I feel the older generation politicians are yet to reconcile what is really happening in this conversation, then they're still thinking a political solution will help. It will not help. We want to see them telling us that how can the capital market be revived so that people can invest in the Nairobi Stock Exchange, people can have, more companies can get funding, they can employ, they can get, But
you must agree we cannot divorce politics from all these discussions, because we're talking about one term, we're talking about not re-electing someone.
And we're not divorcing, we're saying politics must involve the economic solution. The politicians themselves, now we are done with that lawyers giving us laws. We are coming to the fact that now it is beyond the laws, it is beyond now coming up with policies and politics in economy. The solution should be economic-based. Fred, the politicians should think about the economy. They should not stop telling us that Kenya is a national cake. We no longer have a cake. When we are talking about the cake, we were only 8 million Kenyans. The population is at 55 million. And you'll hear others telling us, oh, at your population is a threat to, it's an existential threat to our lives. But they should be telling us, how do we survive as 55 million of us or 100 million of us? That is why we are lacking the vision, Fred, in this country. We only think about from one election to the next. We are not thinking about the next 20 years in this country. And that is the problem. And that is why I told you, this issue of unemployment is a ticking time bomb. Has been happening for the last decade. Only that people are just shelving the problem, and now it has come to blow up.
Okay. And Senator, I remember I raised this issue last week here on the same panel, that if we hear these calls coming from Raila Odinga, then probably these are the discussions at the upper echelons of power in Kenya, because he is a close ally of the president right now. You've said here before that you really respect Raila Odinga. What do you feel about his call for a national conversation?
Well, I think